Alright guys, I'm going to do the video solution for building electrical services. I'll split this into two videos. I'll do the first one for journals and chart of accounts, and then I'll do a second one for the ledger and trial balance. And so the idea of doing this is just that you have a practical solution next to you, like a tutorial, that you can have beside you as you're working through it yourself. You can have this on one computer or your phone while you're working through it yourself on another computer. You can stop, start, rewind if you're not sure about anything. So I think it's quite valuable and quite powerful to have something like this. Alright, let's get into it. Building. So we're going to do the journals first of all and just work through one by one. Identify the 2 or 3 accounts that might be affected and do our journal entries. Okay, I've got this printed beside me, so I'm going to work through it but I might refer back to this one here along the way as we're going. Alright, let's get cracking. Business name, first thing. Easy marks to lose if you don't put the business name at the top. Okay, so our first transaction, owner contributed cash of $50,000. So we're going to put our date in, September 1. Okay, owner contributed cash. So our cash at bank is going to be going up. So it's increasing, it's a debit. So cash at bank is our first account. And it's $50,000 going into the bank account. And then because it's the owner contributing the cash, it is capital, building, and $50,000 credit. I always like to navigate around Excel using the tab button and the arrows. I find that I'm a little bit old school. And when you get the hang of things, that's probably the easiest way to maneuver your way around rather than having to pick up the mouse as frequently. Okay, again on the first, our next transaction, purchased equipment for cash. Okay, so we purchased equipment. Equipment is an asset. It's because we purchased some equipment. The equipment asset is increasing. Okay, so it's going to be the debit. Our cash at bank, we've purchased the equipment for cash, so our cash at bank is going to go down. Therefore, cash bank is an asset, it's normally debit, but because it's decreasing, it's going to be credit. Okay, so equipment, as we said, is our debit, or a strange number. 3 space bars, indent the capital line. In this instance here too, because we're trying to find ways to trim time in an exam, when you go and do, because you've got a finicky number like this one here, you can just simply go equals and then arrow up to the other amount, and that's a quick way of putting that number into that cell. Note the formatting we're doing as we go through our journals. Okay, our debit entry is on the top, our credit entry is on the bottom. When we do a credit entry, we indent here 3 space bars. I like to put a line in between my journal entries just to give it a bit of space and make it easier to read. And just a simple underline using this icon up here, just in this space here. I don't mind if you do it all the way along here. But I just simply prefer to just do it there. Okay, next entry. Purchase supplies for cash. Supplies is an asset, okay, and since we've bought supplies, that supplies asset is increasing, therefore it's the debit. Okay, our cash at bank asset, which is normally a debit, because we've purchased supplies using cash, our cash at bank is going down, therefore it's going to be the credit. So we put our date in, 4th, supplies 41943.87. You just go equals arrow arrow, done. Next transaction on the 9th. What's our transaction? Purchase supplies on credit from electrical supplies. Okay, so supplies, we bought some more supplies. Supplies are an asset, they're increasing, therefore they are our debit. We've bought it on credit. Okay, so there's no mention of paid or cash in here, so we've bought it on credit, and electrical supplies will be an accounts payable. Accounts payable is a liability. It's increasing, therefore this is going to be a credit. So we want more supplies for, what are we saying here? Another silly number, 5476.32. Electrical supplies equals purchase supplies on credit. Okay, on the 10th, we sold equipment for cash at book value. That implies the concept of depreciation, which we will look at later on down the track. Okay, key points here: sold equipment for cash for the value of $1,100. Okay, so equipment is an asset, but we've sold it, so the equipment is decreasing. So the equipment is going to be a credit. And we've sold the equipment for cash. We're receiving cash. Cash is an asset, and it's increasing, therefore it's going to be the debit. Okay, so cash at bank, 700, 1, 2, 3 space bars, and equipment is going down. Sold equipment for cash. And the 12th. Transaction charged fee for services provided to Carry Oak. Okay, so there's no mention of cash or received cash. So this looks like we've done work on credit. Okay, so we've charged a fee for services, so that's going to be service fees revenue. Revenue being a credit. Okay, and this is increasing, so service fees revenue are going to be a credit. We've done the work for Carry Oak, therefore she's going to be an accounts receivable. She now owes us money, and so that accounts receivable is increasing. It will be the debit. We're saying Carry Oak for 840. 1, 2, 3. Service revenue. Perform services. Next transaction. Customer paid cash for rewiring of industrial shed. Okay, so a bit of a vague question for those of you who sort of, I guess, can't put two and two together, that it is an electrical business, okay, and rewiring of an industrial shed is an electrical business performing services. Okay, so essentially it's service fees revenue. Service fees revenue, and the customer has paid cash. Okay, so cash bank is going to increase, it's going to be our debit, and service fees revenue, because it's revenue, will be a credit. and 3,300. Perform services for cash. Alright, 13th, now 15th. Bob Katz charged for plumbing work at our premises. Okay, so our premises being our, where we operate our electrical solutions business out of. Okay, there's been some repairs work that have been needed, so the plumber has come in and fixed our plumbing. So the account that we would use here is repairs and maintenance. Okay, to the premises. So repairs and maintenance is considered an expense. Expense is a debit. So repairs and maintenance will be a debit in our journal entry. Now there's no mention here of the words cash or paid. So therefore it would be accounts payable, a liability, Bob Katz, and that will be our credit because it's a liability. Okay, so we've got repairs and maintenance. Repairs and maintenance, 3300 again, and same accounts payable, Bob Katz, repairs performed on credit. Next transaction on the 18th. 18th, paid the electricity bill. Okay, so this suggests that we haven't put the bill previously into accounts payable. We're just simply paying electricity expense debit, and because we've got the word paid here, that suggests that we physically paid cash, so our cash at bank is going down, which will be a credit. Okay, so electricity expense debit, cash at bank asset will be going down. Electricity 440, and cash at bank. Electricity with cash. Generation. Alright, getting on, 21st. Building, withdrew cash. Okay, so our withdrew cash, so our cash at bank is going down. So it's the opposite of assets general nature, so cash at bank is going to be a credit. And the other account will be owner's drawings. Owner's drawings is a negative owner's equity account. It's going to be debit. And so owner's drawings. And he's withdrawn $1,000, and cash at bank is going down to the same amount, equals that figure there. Owner withdrew cash. The 21st again. Paid business insurance. So insurance is an expense because we typically get insurance cover that lasts at most for a year. Okay, so it's an expense. It's not really considered an asset. So insurance expense will be our debit, and we've paid it. So our cash at bank is going down. So therefore, that will be our credit. So debit, insurance, credit, cash at bank. 2,200. 3 equals paid insurance cash. And our last journal entry, payment made for electricity on the 18th of September should have been $400. Okay, so our transaction on the 18th that we originally processed was for $440. Our journal entry on the 18th was debit electricity $440 and credit cash at bank for $440. What the task is suggesting is that it should have been for $400, not $440. So we've put $40 more in the electricity account, and we've taken $40 more out of the cash at bank account. So we need to right this wrong, we need to put $40 more back into the cash at bank account and take $40 out of electricity. So in order to do that, essentially all we need to do is what we'd call reverse this journal entry. Okay, put cash at bank on top as a debit because we want to put $40 back into our cash at bank. We want to increase our asset. If we increase our asset, it's a debit. Okay, and we want to decrease the expense. In order to decrease the expense, it's a credit. Okay, for the difference amount. Should have been $400, but we processed it at $440, so our difference is $40. So let's do that journal entry. Cash at bank, debit. Okay, he's going to put that $40 back into the bank account, and we're going to credit electricity. Electricity being an expense, which is normally a debit. By crediting it in this journal entry, we're going to take that $40 out of the electricity account. And so our narration will be correct entry on the 18th. Alright, and that's our last journal entry. Done. Something that I should have mentioned as we were going, but in an exam scenario, okay, I'd suggest that as you do each journal entry, put a line or a tick or whatever, okay, just another tool to ensure that you don't get lost on your journey through doing all of these journal entries. Put a tick next to it, or just cross it out or highlight it, whatever your method might be, just to signify that yes, you have done that journal entry. Just a little tip to ensure that nothing gets missed as you're going along. Alright, so what we want to do now is progress. We've done our journal entries. Now we go on to chart of accounts and then onto the ledger and trial balance. Alright, so at this point, for those of you who still don't really know how to, let's split our screens. So we want to view and we want a new window. So that's created our new window. And then once we've done that, we want to go view, arrange all, vertical, windows of the active workbook, and OK, and that splits our screen. In order to, I always work left to right, so in order to create the chart of accounts, I'll have my journals on the left, chart of accounts on the right. So in creating our chart of accounts, we need to remember that because this feeds into our ledger, we need to put them in the correct order. What order is that? That's that RELO order. Revenue, expenses, assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. So let's just do the headings at the top first. Revenue, 200, expenses, 300, assets, 400, liabilities, 500, owner's equity. Okay, and let's work down our journal here to add and populate our chart of accounts with all of the accounts that we've used in here. So first cab off the rank, and quite easily without even going down this list here, we always know that cash at bank is going to be our first one in the asset column. Just so happens though, it was the first one that we've used here. Okay, so 301, cash at bank, 501, shrink this down, 501, that is small, capital, building. Alright, so that's those two done. Let's keep going down. Equipment asset Okay, so we're going to have, we know that there's going to be supplies and accounts receivable, which in the order of liquidity will go higher than equipment, but we'll go with it for now. Okay, we've got equipment in there. Cash at bank we've already got in. Okay, so supplies asset. Supplies is going to go above equipment, so we'll cut and paste equipment and put that down here. Okay, and we're going to put supplies in there in order of liquidity. Keep going down our list. Cash at bank we've already got, supplies we've already got, accounts payable, electrical supplies. Okay, so 401, accounts payable, electrical supplies, proprietary limited. Done. Keep going down our list. Cash at bank we've got, equipment we've got, accounts receivable. Okay, well accounts receivable is going to go in between cash at bank and supplies in our order of liquidity. So we'll put 304 in there. I'm going to take these two, I'm going to cut and paste them down, and then add in accounts receivable. Karaoke with an E on the end. Alright, keep going down. Service accounts receivable. Okay, so then we've got service fees revenue, so let's add that in, 101. That's in. Keep working down our list. Cash at bank's in there, service fees revenue's in there. Okay, repairs and maintenance, our first expense, 201. Repairs and maintenance, that's in. Ooh, accounts payable, Bobcat, so we've got 2 accounts payable. So what I've said to people is that I don't mind if you do 401 and 402 for separate accounts payable. But essentially what happens in real life is that a business will have numerous accounts receivable and numerous accounts payable, and we use the concept of sub-accounts. Okay, and by that I mean we have 401 as our main accounts payable account, or our header account. Okay, and then underneath our header account, we're going to have sub-accounts. So we're going to have another quick little tip. Okay, in Excel, if you've got text in a cell and you want to edit it, and rather than coming up here with your cursor, which is, yes, it is easy, you can also just go to the cell, hit F2, and it puts the cursor there, as you see on the end, and you can then edit the cell. And I use my arrows and the shift and control keys. So that's just a nifty little trick. Again, without picking up the mouse, I consider it faster to use the F2 key. Anyway, sub-accounts. So they sit under our header account, and so we'll have 401.1 and 401.2. And so we're going to have accounts payable Bobcats. Like I said though, at this stage, if you do 401 for electrical supplies and 402 for Bobcats, at this stage I won't mind terribly. But this would be the more correct way of doing it. Okay, keeping going. Electricity we don't have yet, so 202. Electricity. 202 is there. Keep going down our list. Cash at bank we've got. Owner's drawings we need to add in. So 502. Owner's drawings is in. Or you might just call it drawings. Either way is fine. Cash at bank. Okay, insurance we don't have, so we'll come over here, 203. Add that one in. Keep going down our list. Cash at bank we've got, cash at bank we've got, and electricity we've got as well. Very good. Okay, well that's all of our accounts that we've got there. Again, remembering our assets, we want them in order of liquidity, so cash at bank will always be at the top. Typically, yes, I put accounts receivable next, then supplies, then equipment, furniture, then motor vehicles, and then land and buildings if we have such things in our list. Ideally, I want expenses to be in alphabetical order as we've discussed, and so what we want to do is put these in alpha, and so the easiest way to do that, as we've shown, I'm going to maximize this screen here so that then we get this sort and filter icon over on the right. Click on the down arrow, we want to sort A to Z. Comes up with our little option here. We want to continue with the current selection, sort, and we see that then goes into alphabetical order. Alright, that's it for the journals and the chart of accounts. I'll sign off here and then go and do another video for posting to the ledger and then creating a trial balance. Bye for now.